Welcome back. This is our final conversation, but still sticking to the topic of women empowerment, women in leadership. We are going to be touching on women in digital spaces in this next conversation. And to guide us through that, we have some ladies joining us virtually via Zoom. We have with us Dr. Lila Estefan. She's the non-communicable disease coordinator, and she's representing the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Also joining us is Namrita Balani. She's the Director of Science and Technology, representing the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology. And also joining us is Diomni Habet. She's the Marketing Manager, representing the Belize collection. Ladies, thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Also, I guess I should go on the record to say Happy Women's Month as well. This is an exciting time to acknowledge women and the work that they're doing, the representation that we have, and just women breaking the glass ceiling as well. All right, well, let's go into the conversation this morning that has to do with women in digital spaces. I know that this is a big initiative that has been seen all over digital spaces as well. We have some familiar faces, as you can see behind me, especially one in the middle, in the center. But to give us a general overview, perhaps we can get one of you ladies to break down what this initiative is for shaping success with women in digital spaces.
Hi, so the whole purpose of the event, this is our annual Women's Day event hosted by the Belize collection. Last year, we started off for the first time by spotlighting 4 women in conservation. And this year we wanted to, with everything that is changing in the modern world, we wanted to highlight a different sector. So today, actually, you're only meeting 2 of our panelists. As you mentioned earlier, we also have Marlene Claire joining us this Saturday, as well as Ms. Sharon, who Ms. Shara works at Central Bank, and also Ms. Elise, who does graphic design at Bowen & Bowen. So we really wanted to spotlight different women who have to use and have to adapt to the digital world from various sectors, even though today you're only seeing 2 of them.
Yeah. You mentioned that this has been an annual initiative. I want to go back to when the first one was held and the purpose behind it and how it has been since building upon it yearly.
So if I'm being super honest, the purpose solely is to create spaces to host these conversations, amplify these voices. We host this for the first time last year. It was really just let's try it and let's see. And this year it's picked up a lot more momentum than I genuinely thought it would. And again, it's not necessarily an event that we host. We host it at the Banks, which shares a property with Sleeping Giant, which you might be more familiar with. But it's not something that we host for a profit. It's generally just because our leadership here at the Belize Collection is mostly women, including myself and my director. These are initiatives that we get to kind of put our resources behind because it's something that we see every day in our workplace, and it's something that matters to us as a company. It is one of our values to uplift women. So naturally, having the resources, having the space, it was just an event that we thought of, and this year we're following the same format as last year, where it's free to the public, and right after the roundtable talk, we're also having an artisan pop-up shop with only women entrepreneurs as well.
I'd like to bring Dr. Lila into the conversation to speak a bit about how you, in your professional space as a woman, how you've had to adapt to the digital world and some of the challenges that you've faced as a result.
Thanks for asking that question, Paul. When it comes to healthcare, I just want to share a little statistic that we know globally women constitute 70% of the health workforce, but when we look at women in these leadership roles, we're only seeing 25%. The digital world, these digital tools have facilitated a lot of the processes A lot of the things that were once being done manually can now be done through AI solutions or through other technological advances. But with the use of digital solutions, we also must be mindful that the human component cannot be replaced completely. So things like being a medical professional, whereas I can use telemedicine to help communicate with my patient that might be far away, that solution will not replace me as a doctor or my medical background. So we must know how to use these solutions, but also recognize that it can't replace us and the human element that we bring.
Would you say it then comes at an advantage, or it gives you as a healthcare professional an advantage in carrying out your duties?
Definitely, Paul. I mean, and I'm sure all the ladies can emphasize in their own sectors how these digital solutions are facilitating their work. But we also have to know that there are certain limitations, such as the governance aspects. When it comes to health data, it's very privy to, confidentiality rules. There's a lot of things that surround it. So you must be very careful when you're using these tools as well. So you need to have the right people in the right places making these decisions and setting it out exactly as it should be used for our general population, because we need to really be careful of how we use the data, especially for our Belizean population. We don't want things to be leaked, for example.
Yeah. I want to bring Ms. Balani, Ms. Namrita Balani in the conversation. As we mentioned, she is the Director of Science and Technology, representing the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology. So she has quite a big shoes to fill. However, I imagine definitely capable. And so I really want to speak to your working leadership, Ms. Balani, and perhaps speaking to the importance of women leading in digital spaces as well.
Hi, thank you, Sabrina. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes, Sabrina, like you said, I'm in leadership right now. It took a while. I'm from a very tech background. So when I started at the Ministry as a network admin, I was climbing ceilings, dealing with cabling. I did all of that with the firewall.
Wow.
And that wasn't common, right? I think the stereotype of how a female in tech should have dressed was I'm talking about 10 years ago. It was very different, right? They'd see a girl in heels and makeup and think that, oh, you don't belong in this field. Like, are you the secretary? And be like, no, I'm the one doing all this work. So we've seen a huge shift from back then, but not enough. I mean, females, I just did a guest speech for the graduating class in UB for tech, and it's still just 30% females. So we're still seeing that gender gap in the field.
Yeah, no, and I also know, Namrita, that through the ministry, you all have sought to expand women in ICT knowledge there. Why is this an important initiative?
Well, I think I'm a little biased, Paul, but I mean, I'm a girl in tech, and I didn't see enough representation. I didn't get enough motivation. Even when I decided to take the field, so many people kept telling me, like, are you sure you want to be in that field? Like, we don't see enough females in that. Maybe it's just a male field. Maybe you should take business. And so there were so many people to discourage me, but I pushed through, right? And then now being in this role, I worked with my team and we said that we want to come up with something where we can expose, encourage, and support more girls in ICT. So we came up with the Lead Like a Girl campaign. And we realized that, exposure is number one. And then, like, once you're exposed to it, how do you encourage them to continue? And if they're in the field, how do you help support them? And so that specific campaign has been focused on, how do you do it from your couch? How do you do it from your community? How do you do it from your company and from your country standpoint? So it's sort of trying to bring in other players too, and we commend the Belize collection for giving us a space for this as well.
I really want to ask you another question, Ms. Namrita, because you spoke about what your experience was like when you first expressed the perhaps interest in a field that was considered male-dominated at that time. Do you think that the era that we are currently in now in 2026, that is kind of done away with? Or do you still feel that women are still struggling to fit themselves in these considered male-dominated roles, whether it's pursuing a degree that's more male-centered or filling certain roles in leadership as well?
I mean, I see more females in the field, but not enough in leadership. And then I have friends that work in private sector and in different sectors, and they come back and they say they're not making the same like their male counterparts. So,
Yeah.
so that I think that the discrimination is still there. It's how do you expose more. So I know with us we've been trying to promote more coding from primary school, because if you wait till high school to expose them, then they've already sort of made up their mind, right? So it's just staying to it. There's some meetings that I still go to, and I go with my male colleagues, and they think I'm their secretary, but
Oh,
no,
yeah.
like, yeah. So it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dr.
sure.
Lila, just going back to you for a bit again, as a 21st century professional, how have you had to expand and build on your capacity to meet the digital demands of this age?
I think something that you will encourage always is to continuous education, right? So never feel like you know enough. We are in the age and era where you can access virtually any learning course, any training course online. Most of them are free of cost as well. So I always say, you know, we need to be kept up to date. As a medical professional, you are required to have certain number of hours of continuous medical education. So I can't renew my medical license every year if I'm not being kept up to date with what the latest technologies and medicines and treatments are. Yeah. It's an injustice for my patients, and it's an injustice for the medical professional. And so I love what Namrita said, because similarly in the health field, you know, a woman would often be taken as the nurse, whereas a male that's beside you would be taken as the doctor, right? And so these are the stereotypes that we are often faced, even though most of the healthcare force are women. And in my graduating class, for example, we had mostly women doctors being passing every year. So I think that one of the main things is, you know, stay up to date with the information, try to refine different skills and techniques, so that when you are in a position where you are being considered for a leadership role, at least when it comes to that part of your CV, it's not missing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a rich point when you spoke about what experiences or like stereotypes would look like in terms of the medical field. It's very true. We would assume that the male would be the doctor, the female, the nurse. Well, we do have to wind down this conversation, but I want to go back to Ms. Diomni and speak about perhaps how people can attend this event if they are interested in interacting and learning a bit more about these personal stories.
So our event is this Saturday. It starts at 10 a.m. at the Banks. Again, the Banks shares the same entrance as Rainforest Lodge at Sleeping Giant, if you're more familiar with Sleeping Giant. The event is free to attend. We will be having an artisan pop-up shop that follows immediately after our roundtable talk at 12 p.m. We'll also be having a special buffet for locals as well for that day. So I'd just like to invite the public and anyone who might be interested. We also have our pool and anything else that you can do such as the trails that you can do on the grounds as well. So you can make a whole day out of it. If you're not in Belmopan or very close to Belmopan, there's tons to do. So if you have any more questions or wanted to contact our office, you could WhatsApp us at 615-2167.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to join us virtually. We appreciate your input, the conversations, and we hope that you have a successful event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we do have to wrap up the show at this time. It has been a wonderful Monday morning. It is March 2nd, and if you are celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. If you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oie@greaterbelize.com.
You can also catch us live on our socials. That's Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ for the live broadcast. You can get behind the scenes content at OIE Belize on Instagram, and then we also have TikTok That's openyoureyes.bz.
And you can even text us or call us on our OIE phone number. That's 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow on Tuesday when you open your eyes
and start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
Have a wonderful Monday, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and SMART, bringing people together.